Hey y'all, I'm Paul,
and I'm Sarah,
and we're the Go With The Flow couple. While we were on this trip, we stayed at 7 different types of parks and places to stay. And we want to talk to you a little bit today about some of the advantages or pros and cons of each one of these types of places.
Right. Okay, so the first type of park we want to talk about is county parks. Now we stayed at a total of about 2 county parks, and some of the pros of those are that most county parks have some type of hookup available. They have water, electric, or both, and most of them have dump stations.
And even one of them that we stayed in had full hookup, including sewer right at our sites.
Right, sure did. Matter of fact, the one that we're at right now is one that we're talking about. Actually, we started out our journey staying at this park. It's the Escambia County Equestrian Center in Pensacola, Florida. So this is where we started out, and this is where we ended up. So we've kind of come full circle in our stay of parks. Now, another pro is on these county parks are the price. They tend to be under about $25 a night, and so that's a good thing. Now, a con, some of them may be off your route, so you may have to drive a little ways to get to it.
The second type of park that we stayed in were state parks. We stayed at 3 state parks, one in Tennessee, one in Missouri, and one in Minnesota, which was our ultimate goal, Itasca
Right.
State Park.
Right.
We're wearing the shirts.
Ta-da! It says, what? I crossed the Mississippi River. So did he.
So state parks have some advantages. They're usually well kept, well maintained. They've got a large state-run staff. There's a lot of activities or things to do at most state parks.
There's hiking, canoeing, swimming, just depending on what region of the country you're in. You just have to stop at the ranger station, pick up a brochure, and find out what's available, and get out there and enjoy it.
Now, some of the state parks, though, you've got to be careful with hookups. Just about every state park that we stay in does have electric. Some of them did not have water at the site, so you had to make sure that you had your tanks full before you got there. Don't be like us. We did not fill our tanks up at one of the state parks and had to borrow hoses so we could reach to fill our tanks up. Either that or hook back up and move the camper. Another advantage is the price tends to be pretty good at a state park. Most state parks are in the $25 range, maybe a little less, maybe a little more, depending on what state park it is and what season it is.
Okay, the next type of park is private RV parks. Now, those tend to be maybe a little bit more expensive, but the majority of them have full hookups, and they're pretty well maintained, they're clean, and you meet a lot of interesting people in any of these parks that you go to. If you walk around and say hey to a stranger that you don't know. But anyway, we stayed at, how many? We stayed at 2 private parks. One of them we stayed at for 4 days, and another one we stayed at only because, and it was the most expensive park we stayed at, But we stayed there only because we were having truck problems.
Right, and it was a place that we needed to stop so that we could get the truck taken care of.
Yeah, well, and luckily they had a laundry area, but you had to pay for the laundry. But at that park, at another park where we stayed 4 days, the laundry was free. So that was a plus on that park.
You don't find that very often. The fourth type of park that we stayed at, not really a park, was called Boondockers Welcome. Now, Boondockers Welcome, if you're not familiar with it, and we're not affiliated with it, we do have a membership, but you have to pay an annual membership for Boondockers Welcome. It's not very expensive, and that allows you to access the list of private individuals who've opened up their property for you to stay overnight. Now, as the name implies, most of the time, Boondockers Welcome, you're boondocking. You have to have your own power supply. You have to be self-contained, have your own water. However, we've gotten very fortunate on this trip that 3 of the 4 Boondockers Welcome we stayed at had hookups. Matter of fact, 3 of them had full hookups.
Yep, they did.
So we had water, we had electricity. There was only one of them that we did have to provide our own power with a generator. So an advantage of those is those places are free. Now, you do have to contact them in advance. You have to make sure that they have availability. And you also, as you go into those places, sometimes they're a little bit off your route. You may have to go searching for them, but the Boondockers Welcome website is very easy to operate, very easy to navigate, and then you contact the people and you set up an appointment with them. They either accept your request or deny that if they might be busy or they might not be available. They may be out of town. So you do get an opportunity, though, to meet some interesting people.
Very interesting people.
And we've had great conversations with just about all of our Boondockers Welcome hosts. The only one we didn't have a good conversation with was only because the weather was so bad and they got home late. We didn't get a chance to talk to them.
Okay, so the next one type of park is very similar to Boondockers Welcome. It's called Harvest Host. And Harvest Hosts are businesses that allow you to stay in their parking lot for free. Now, it is
Expected.
It's expected that you patronize their business, which depending on where you stay, you're gonna pay that much anyway to camp in a camping area. So go in and patronize their business. We must have really loved staying at Harvest Host because we stayed at 6 different Harvest Host places within the 6 weeks that we were traveling.
And usually with a Harvest Host, it's just one night.
Yeah, usually just one night. Most of them do not provide electricity or facilities. Some of them will say no generator. We stayed at one place that said no generator, but they had 50 amp hookup available. So we really scored on that one.
That's right. And there are places like wineries, breweries, museums,
Yeah.
Farms.
Yeah. And again, with Harvest Host, just like Boondockers Welcome, you have to pay us a minimal membership fee each year. It's not that expensive. But once you do, you go
On the app.
On the app, and similar as you do with Boondockers Welcome, you say what day you want to stay, and they accept you or not. And the only other thing that these two
Types of places have?
well, the only other requirement for your membership is that you leave a reference for the business or for the Boondocker Welcome host, so that others can, when they come behind you, they can see, you know, okay, well, this must be a pretty great place to stay, or this was a horrible place to stay, you know, and those type of things. It also does well for the host if they get a good review.
The other type of place that we stayed was just overnight at businesses that allow it. And we did that 3 times. Cracker Barrel is one that a lot of people know about.
Yeah.
Cracker Barrel allows RVers to come in, park in their RV section. We're a little long to park in their RV spot, so we just go to an out-of-the-way place there. Again, it's a good idea to patronize the business. We do breakfast at Cracker Barrel usually if we stay there. Another one was Camping World. If you're a Good Sam member, they will usually allow you to stay there. And then we also stayed at a museum in Iowa that they weren't a Harvest host, they weren't a Boondockers Welcome, but there was a big open parking lot and they allowed us to stay there for the night. We were going to the museum anyway,
Yep.
so we did an hour in the museum when we first got there that evening.
And the next morning we went back and toured through the rest of the museum. So it was a nice place to stay. The parking lot in those types of places are usually very well lit, and so security is probably an issue, especially these days with a lot of people. So those type businesses would be secure. Now Walmart is one other business that sometimes they may let you stay there. Again, you would probably need to check with a manager or someone, you know, just to make sure. We did have, not on this trip, but on another trip, we checked in with the Walmart, you know, to see if we could stay there, and we're told, no, this is not a good place for you all to stay. You might want to check another Walmart down the road.
So just check in with the businesses. It's always a good idea to get permission, and that way there's not a knock on your door at 2 o'clock in the morning from a police officer telling you to hook up and leave.
Yeah, well, we've never had that happen. So.
Had that happen to me one time.
Oh, okay.
I ended up parking in the police parking lot. They let me stay there.
Well, what could be safer than that?
That's right. Now, there are some advantages besides these businesses being free to park there in their parking lot. They're usually on your route.
Yep.
It's a good thing to do if you've been driving for a while and you just need a place to stop. You can stay at those places. Sometimes their parking lots can get busy, so you do need to be out of the way. And there's people that will be coming back and forth sometime. Usually not so much late at night.
So the last type of parking we want to talk about is called Mooch Docking. And Mooch Docking is where you borrow electricity or water, but you are usually at a relative's home or someone else that you know, a friend's house, you know, and a lot of times they don't mind if you hook into their power or get water from them. Some pros about this, they're free.
We like free.
Yeah, it's free 99 is great. Okay, free 99. But some other cons may be that they may not be as easily accessible to get into, or the area that you want to park in, you know, the ground might not be great because, you know, that's usually at a person's home. They're not set up for, you know, full-time RVs, so you're parking in the grass, in the, you know, wherever.
On the driveway, wherever.
Driveway.
And sometimes the electricity and the water source that they have may not be easily accessible. So it's always a good idea to carry plenty of extensions for your power
And for your water.
and for your water.
Yep.
That way you're able to reach just about anything you need to. Now, one other thing I would comment on is most RVs are pretty well self-contained. So as long as you can get someplace close to electricity, you can fill your water tank up, run your pump, and you're okay with water. So as long as you can reach electricity, you should be good.
Yeah, should be good. So those are just like 7 different types of parks that we wanted to talk to you about today. And I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. We don't like thumbs down. And subscribe to our channel, the Go With The Flow Couple on YouTube and Go With The Flow on Facebook.
So until later, we say
Bye, y'all.